the first county government, and to third, it has been calving money. Madam Speaker, that goes to show us that these stadiums, while we lack stadiums, there are also avenues through which we lose a lot of money in this country in the name of actually finishing up the stadiums, but then we find that year in and year out, we lose a lot of money. Madam Speaker, I think this country has lost a lot of chances to even present or to host certain activities because of a lack of standard stadiums, because of not taking issues of stadiums very seriously. And I think this statement, that committee, which is coming to my own committee, must actually look at this as a matter of urgency and put forward the concerns so that this country will be able to ensure that we have serious stadiums, because I'm sure if there was a serious scheme to come to this country, we are likely to go even as far as Uganda to host, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. Oh, finally, I see Senator Mudama. Are you 2 minutes, please?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support this statement by Senator. I support and say that even the stadiums in the constituency level must be completed, like one in Matungulu constituency in a place called Kitui, which was begun 3 to 4 years ago, and it's still not finished, and many others, and not only in Machakos County, but also in many other counties in Kenya. And so our youth must have a good place to be able to play their football. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Chair of the committee, can you commit yourself, although we know you have already started, so 1 minute only.
Madam Speaker, once we deal with the FKF issue, I want to separate the two, because this is a bigger discussion around hundreds of millions that were put in. We saw Nyayo Stadium being opened the other day, Kasarani being opened. Here today, if we are to have an international fixture, we have to go to Rwanda. That is a very serious question that must be answered. You know, international stadium is not, I saw during Mashujaa Day, in Kirinyaga, they wrote Wanguru International Stadium. It's not international because you read the name international. There are certain standards that are put in place by these international bodies, IAAF, FIFA, etc. If we've put in hundreds of millions at that level by the national government, yet we have failed. And that's why I like the last question, whether the other areas that have been inspected and failed to meet the standards, we need to be told why. So I'll ask for 2 weeks, and we should be able to deal with this on this matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it stands committed, the Committee of Labor and Social Welfare. The last statement by Senator Jeruyot. Your second statement, please read it. We are not going to accept contributions now, Honorable Senators, because it's only 10 minutes
thank
the
you.
end of statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a request for a statement on the power purchase agreements between Kenya Power and Lighting Company and independent power producers. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Energy on the power purchase agreements between Kplc and independent power producers. In the statement, the committee should, 1, state the number of companies that Kenya Power has signed power purchasing contractual agreements with. 2, give the dates when the power purchasing agreements were signed and when these agreements come to an end. 3, state the cost at which Kenya Power procured electrical power from each of these IPPs from KenGen in the last 24 months, and stating the selection criteria used. Number 4, state the loading policy used in determining consumption times from each of the IPPs. 5, state targeted interventions the company has employed in mitigating the rising cost of electricity to household businesses, factories, and other consumers in the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Gerard Gay.
Madam Speaker, I have one statement here. Request for statements tenders by the National Treasury under specially permitted procurement procedure. Madam Speaker, I raise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek for a statement from the National Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding award of tenders by the National Treasury under the specially permitted procurement procedure. In the statement, the committee should address the following. 1, appraise the Senate on the number and the nature of tenders for government projects awarded for the financial years 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 under specially permitted procurement procedure. Number 2, inform the Senate on the total amount of money committed to tenders awarded under the specially permitted procurement procedure for the 2 financial years. Number 3, explain how the awarded tenders qualify as tenders in the public interest or interest of national security as contained in the procurement law in order for them to have been awarded under this special category. Madam Speaker, number 4, state the role of state security agencies and organs in the award of such tenders. And finally, Madam Speaker, list, if any, tenders for the government projects under private-public partnership, like LAPSET, that have been awarded through this restricted tendering method for the financial years 2019-2020 and 2020-2021 financial years. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The next statement is by Senator Enoch Wambua. You have 2 statements. Please start with the electoral boundaries one, and we end with the student unrest, just in case I have 2 minutes to allow.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I request that you give direction to the Senator Kajwang to stop the Kamkunji and then focus on this. It's an important statement.
Honorable Senator Kajwang, why are you attracting a lot of attention today?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights regarding the status of preparedness for the upcoming general elections by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. In the statement, the committee should, 1, outline the measures that the IEBC has put in place to guarantee a free, fair, and credible general election in 2022. 2, state the firm that has been awarded the tender to print ballot papers and whether due process was followed, including due diligence, before awarding the tender. 3, explain circumstances that led to the IEBC signing a contract on electoral data collection and storage with a French firm without a clause on the right of access or transfer of data after the elections. Number 4, state the amount of money the IEBC has been paying to the contracted firm to access data for each by-election that has taken place after the 2017 general election. And 5, enumerate individuals and or organizations, if any, that have the rights of access to the Kenyan electoral data. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and with your permission, I will move on to the second statement.
Yes, let me move to the next statement because I want to allow the next statement. We have only 5 minutes and I wanted to give contributions that touch on this student unrest because I hear a number of you would like to say something. So yes, next statement, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You have given direction, but Madam Speaker, I'll be asking if they may want to comment on 2 of the statements.
No,
that will be fine. So, Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the ongoing student unrest and rising cases of fires in secondary schools across the country. In the statement, the committee should, 1, investigate the factors behind the ongoing unrest in schools, such as Buruburu Girls, Chavakali Boys, Moi Girls in Marsabit, and Singalame Boys, among other secondary schools, that have led to dormitories being set on fire, causing injuries to numerous students, including 1 reported death. 2, outline the proactive measures the Ministry of Education has put in place, if any, to ensure a smooth learning environment in our schools. And 3, state the measures the ministry will put in place to ease the pressure on learners occasioned by the prolonged school calendar, aimed at recovering time that was lost last year when schools were shut due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Madam Speaker, I submit.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Olekina, are you ready? I know you're the first one, but I thought you needed time to read.
Madam Speaker, I thank you. Madam Speaker, I wanted to comment on the first statement, but I'm also now inclined to make some brief comment on the second statement, which I fully support. On the first statement, Madam Speaker, briefly.
Before I forget, please, I want to give everybody, you can see we have 5 people, and our time is up, so please try and use 2 max 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
3 minutes maximum.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the first statement, which was read by Senator Wambua on the issue of IEBC, Madam Speaker, I would like also to know whether it is true, the 411 that we saw today, that IEBC intend to stop the voter registration exercise despite a court order citing lack of budgetary allocation. Madam Speaker, if we are going to continue behaving like a banana republic where we don't respect the court orders, then I don't know where we're going to go as a country. So it will be important when the committee is looking on these issues to also expound further on whether the IEBC has decided to disregard the court order and continue and stop the voter registration exercise. Madam Speaker, also, it will also be important to get more details on this purported tender allocation to a French company. In the last election, we had challenges trying to access our data. So that really will put us into a situation where everyone will start saying the elections have been stolen even before they are. On the second statement, Madam Speaker, because I can see my time is up, it is quite sad. And I think we as a country are demanding so much from the Ministry of Education to a point where the Ministry of Education becomes confused. This CBC is the cause of everything. And as the stakeholders, Madam Speaker, it is about time that we take the necessary steps to be able to bring this correction. Madam Speaker, when you listen to the students, I actually I went to see one school, which is directly opposite my home, at 3 a.m. in the morning, when the student decided to set the school on fire. Madam Speaker, please give me 1 minute.
1 minute.
Because speaking for 1 minute, 60 seconds sometimes is difficult. Madam Speaker, the problem is that we do not have a consistent calendar for these students. Students are in school for 2 weeks, they are sent home for midterm. Students are asked to bring in a laptop when the father or the parents do not even afford a mulika mwizi. We are demanding so much from the Ministry of Education, and that this is our responsibility as parents, as leaders. I think it's about time we now sit down and play our oversight role and direct. And I know some of us here will say, we cannot direct, we recommend. But with what is going on, it started with a school in Narok, your regular secondary school, where students decided to set a dormitory on fire just because they were being denied to go and preach. You know, some youth wanted to have a homecoming ceremony because now the culture And I feel sorry, Madam Speaker, for this current generation. This current generation, if we do not play our role as leaders to be able to guide them, I don't know what will become of other future generation which will come in. The current generation is so entitled. We have made them entitled. You know, we are guilty. So I think the best thing we can do, Madam Speaker, is that instead of pointing all the blame at the Ministry of Education, we also figure out a way that we can now sit down and evaluate what was wrong with the 844 system. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sakaja Johnson, 2 minutes.
Speaker, 2 minutes is so difficult, but I'll try. Madam Speaker, I have currently 19 girls hospitalized at Metropolitan Hospital in Buruburu, around the area, and 16 at Jama Hospital. 63 in total have been hospitalized because of the fire that broke out on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. One of the hostels is called Kingdom Hostel. But before that fire broke out, there had been communication to the principal, Mrs. Caroline Maina, about some discontent on the pressure on the Form 3 girls who are being categorized according to performance. There's something wrong with how we are dealing with our students at that age. And this pressure, we have a mental health breakdown. The pressure that we're putting upon them, I think something needs to be done. I am meeting with the regional director of education together with the principal and the board of this school, not just to address what has already happened, but to get a feel of what we must do to the other schools. Because the problem when we start reporting on these fires, the peer pressure. Another school says, oh, have you seen Buruburu Girls? And Buruburu Girls is, when I was in high school, it was a very popular school. We used to call it Burumambao. Say, have you seen Buruburu Girls have burnt? When are we burning ours? And the peer pressure, and it starts a series. In fact, I would ask the media, I don't know how to limit how they report on this, because when other students see it, then they also want to do it, because it is now cool to do it. So it's very unfortunate, Madam Speaker. And it was so sad when I saw the girls jumping out of windows. That level of distress, that level of fear in their eyes, and when there's a fire and she's on the 3rd floor. So I'm really, I really want to say sorry to the families and to the parents of these students for what they went through. Madam Speaker, on the first issue, and once I do it, I'll report. Even before the Committee of Education looks into it, I'll report as Senator for Nairobi. Because these girls are my students, these schools are mine. I'll invite members who want to accompany me to have this discussion before waiting for the relevant committee. On the first statement, I think I'd like to get more details, because, Madam Speaker, even our courts must give rulings that are practical. If you tell me to do a service, that I extend voter registration, and I don't have money to pay these clerks, in the same ruling, you should also direct Treasury to give us money, or to give the IBC money. Madam Speaker, we have, we must respect court orders, but court orders must also be practical. If they actually don't have the resources, that's a point of information. If they actually don't have the resources, let the Justice Committee be able to tell us how much more, because we want not just for 1 week.
Point of information.
Madam Speaker, we don't want just for 1 week.
What is out of order? I hope.
Madam Speaker, we have 3 arms of government, and courts decide based on their facts.
That is
No, Madam Speaker, I just want to know.
Accepted.
Yeah, is it in order
Yes.
for the distinguished senator, the future governor of Nairobi, to come out here and cast aspersion on the judiciary, which rules based on facts that they are given on the table? The judiciary does not know what the budget of the IBC is. So I think the key most important here is that we must profess, we must push for government to respect court of orders. So, Madam Speaker, I don't think it's in order for the distinguished senator to be able to point a finger at the judiciary that they should give court orders that are practical.
Thank you,
What is not
Senator.
practical about that, Madam Speaker?
Madam Speaker, when the IBC is unable to pay these clerks, and we'll bring another statement why they are not able to pay, what we need to do as a house is to make sure they have the correct allocation for another month of a voter registration exercise that is properly targeted to these young people who are on social media. The traditional ways of getting these young people to register will not work. where you're putting advertisements on the newspapers and notices in markets and on notice boards. We need to have a youth-targeted, youth-centric voter registration campaign that will target our young people. Nairobi was supposed to get 750,000 people more. We've only hit 75,000. So, Madam Speaker, I am not pointing fingers at the judiciary, and fingers should not be pointed to IEBC as well if they don't have the resources. Let us make sure the solution found is that we have the resources to do another month or two of the mass voter registration exercise. Finally, Madam Speaker, I'll alert members on our platform on the issue of Buruburu girls. And for those who can help support, I know some of the girls have lost some documents, whatnot. We'll go and the principal, together with the parents, will tell us what they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gerard Gates. Samson, please let's try not to exceed 3. Because we don't seem to have the time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think the ongoing schools unrests and incidences of fires across the nation has not, of course, Nandi, we have not reported so much, many incidences, but I've seen number of schools have gone on unrest, somewhere in Nandi Hill sub-county, among other areas in Nandi County. Madam Speaker, I think what we need to do as a country, I think it is the right time, apart from the peer pressure, and I want to ask the media to be cautious when they are reporting on these fire incidences across the country, because it looks like there is some peer pressure. When you see other counties, other schools are being burned down, maybe they get excited and they think by burning theirs, it appears to be cool. But I think, Madam Speaker, there is a lot of peer pressure. Number 2, Madam Speaker, I think as a country, and with the onset of CBC, Madam Speaker, it is the right time to reconsider the system of boarding schools across the nation, Madam Speaker. Our children are being in school, they have been in boarding, Madam Speaker, for 3 months or 4 months. With that kind of pressure within the same environment, Madam Speaker, it continues to give them unnecessary pressure, Madam Speaker. So we need to reconsider on the issue of boarding schools in this republic. Let us make all our schools to be day schools, Madam Speaker, and our children can come back in the evening so that we don't leave our children with the teachers and principals, Madam Speaker. Because most of us parents have abdicated our role and allowed the principals and teachers, given them unnecessary job description, because they are supposed to teach from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Madam Speaker. Yet you demand that teacher on duty to be on duty throughout the night, Madam Speaker. Finally, Madam Speaker, is also the issue of academic performance, Madam Speaker. Most of the students, according to research, that start most of the fire incidences and indiscipline, Madam Speaker, is because most of them do not perform very good in school, and therefore they are given pressure by the school administrators that they must perform. And most of the students are not of similar capacities, Madam Speaker. So we must agree that the pressure that the schools, and you heard what Buruburu girls' parents said yesterday on the news, that even it was reported to the principal, and the principal said, Chomeni. So how should we handle? I think we need more guidance and counseling centers to be more student-friendly, so that when such incident has to be happen, Madam Speaker, they must be nipped at the bud. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Kachwang Moses.
Madam Speaker, I want to start with a statement on the fires, and I wish to send my prayers and apologies to the children who are in hospital. Madam Speaker, Achebe in Things Fall Apart told us that when the mother cow is chewing grass, the calf watches. What our children are doing is a reflection of what the parents and adults are doing. When we are full of impunity, violating COVID protocols, insulting each other on public platform, our children are going to follow suit. We must also make a good example instead of every time condemning our children, and yet we did not live up to the expectations that is expected. And Madam Speaker, through subsequent legislation, we have stripped our teachers of all authority. Nowadays, teachers cannot even discipline children in schools, as it was in the past. These are things that we need to look at, even as we blame the young children of running astray. On the statement on IBC, Madam Speaker, in today's world, young people can order food online. They can book tickets online. They can attend church online. They attend weddings online. They attend funerals online. They attend school online. They graduate online, Madam Speaker. Why should we be telling these people to go to their local villages, to the chief's camp, to take voters' cards as if they are going for a COVID vaccination? Madam Speaker, I want to urge the legal committee of this House to quickly do an audit of the IBC and its readiness for the next election, because we have got a trinity of evil, Madam Speaker. We've got someone in charge of the data of this country, a data commissioner, someone in charge of transmission, someone in charge of the Elections Management Board, and those three people were part of the discredited election that almost drove this country into an abyss. Madam Speaker, there are those who have said even if Oburu Odinga was chairman of IBC, it should not be a problem. But I want to tell you, election is a reason why Kenyans kill each other. We are not killing each other now because of curfew, but at election time, it will be brother against brother, tribe against tribe. We must get it right. And Madam Speaker, I hope these statements will call for a bigger audit of regulations, preparation, procurement, and all those things that can ensure and assure Kenyans of a free and fair election.
Thank you, Senator Kitua Nguki Isaac.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the issue of fire, I think we have a great problem. It is true that I'm not a parent, but I have a brother, and I have some sisters, and I've also been a student, and not yet. Thank you, Sakaja. But I want to say, Madam Speaker, I think we are dealing with the issue of hardware and not the software. I think whatever we're experiencing in our country, not only in schools, but everywhere in this country, is as a result of how we are raising our kids. Madam Speaker, I remember when I was growing up, when my dad and mom said no, it meant a no, no matter what you did. But nowadays, I think the kind of children that we are raising them in a manner to tell them that you can do anything and you can access anything and you can get anything that you want, regardless whether it is correct or not correct. Again, Madam Speaker, on the second statement about IEBC, I was affected by the 2007 post-election violence, and the main reason was how the election were conducted. Madam Speaker, as my senior Senator Kajwang has said, we are living in an era of technology. We need IEBC to stop doing the same things that they have been doing. They must also up their game. And the one of the issues that they must up their game on is the issue of communication. We need them to continue communicating and updating us on each and every step that they are making and their preparedness towards 2022 election. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Inima. 3 minutes, please, Max.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just briefly to touch on the two issues. When it comes to the issue of IBC.
There is an intervention from Senator Wambua.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This will help the senators that are contributing to that statement on the unrest in schools. I've just seen information from the ministry that they have now agreed that secondary schools will have to break for midterm on Friday, November 19th, and resume on Tuesday, November 23rd, to deal with this unrest in schools. It's a good step, I think. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Wow, okay. Senator Inima.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just very quickly on the two issues. One, the issue of IEBC. The reality on the ground is that there's extreme voter lethargy when it comes to, picking, voters' cards. So there's need for IEBC to extend this process to even 2 months so that there is mobilization of people in the counties to go and register as voters. Because I remember when I was in Lugari, you move from one ward to another, you find that people are not keen about registering. But this is bad because they're denying themselves the constitutional constitutional right of electing their own deserving leaders. So there is need for that process to be extended, and there's need for also leaders to go on the ground and sensitize on issues of people, taking voters' cards. Quickly on the issue of Buruburu Girls, I'm very sorry for what happened in Buruburu Girls, but just a quick one also as a teacher. I've been a teacher before, and I always insist that when it comes to discipline in students, the tripartite relationship of the students, teachers, and also parents is very important, because in some schools, Honorable Speaker, you will find students just doing things that are unthinkable, but when they go home, they talk to their parents, instead of supporting the teachers to help discipline their child, they now gang up against teachers, Honorable Speaker. And also, I want to talk about the issue of emergency doors. There's need for boarding schools to have emergency doors, just in case a fire comes out. There's need for an exit door, Honorable Speaker. And also the issue of schools is not for the government alone. It is an issue of parents, it is an issue of partners, so parents should be willing also to come in and support schools in coming up with schools that are friendly, Honorable Speaker. So I support these two statements.
What's out of order, Senator Sagaja?
Madam Speaker.
Although she has finished.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, something very strange has just happened. That the person who brought the statement has given us information that there is now a midterm break, and he says then it's okay. So has he stepped down the statement? Madam Speaker, because we need to, and he said, so that's a good thing. There's a break that's been ordered. The policy, the framework that allows a policy decision to be made, such as no midterm, is what still needs to be questioned. Because this is reactionary. That the ministry has now said there'll be a break from November 19th. It's reactionary because of the unrest. So I think the Chair of Education is here, and we must implore that we must still get to the bottom of these policy decisions being made in the dark that are leading our children to take such action in the schools.
Thank you, Senator Sagaja. Senator Wambua, I don't want you to touch on it because I was wondering why you are giving us breaking news from 411 newspapers. We don't know where you are getting your information. You are not the Minister of Education, and they are not communicating to you officially. So I don't want you to touch on it. Are you giving us more information, or?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the reason why I brought that matter to the attention of the Senate is twofold. One, to highlight the importance of this discussion, that in fact the ministry, following what we are debating now, is making a decision that is positive. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the issue of midterm is an issue that has been canvassed by all the senators, almost all of them, in their contribution. And I just bring you the information that matter is already being dealt with. Madam Speaker, I was just saving time for the Senate, and I think it's a good thing. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Kindiki Kidure, Professor.
Honorable Speaker, I want to make very brief remarks as follows. First, on the issue of the strikes and incidents around schools, it is my view, Honorable Speaker, that the curriculum that we are having is overcrowded for our children. And with the COVID-19, the situation has even become worse, because now a heavy curriculum has now had to be dealt with in the context of a backlog. And I think there is only so much that a human person can sustain. It's impossible. It is impossible to raise children while subjecting them to the kind of study program that we are subjecting them at the moment. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, as a nation, we must find ways of balancing between the freedom that we so much cherish and limiting exposure of our children to social media. I know some countries in the East have gone to the extreme of very high limitations. And the other countries, and I think that's where we fall, have been very liberal when it comes to exposure to social media. Some of the bad habits that we are seeing our children espousing are direct influence from social media, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, on the issue of IEBC, I want to make the following 3 comments. 1, we must respect court orders, however painful. However painful. 2, I just want to say in terms of what the commissioner said today, that they don't have money. It makes sense. So, as an officer of the court, I am imploring our judiciary, when they make such court orders, because we have already said we must respect the court orders, to be also sensitive to the practicability of court orders. Because when you instruct and order a public institution to do something, you must ask yourself as a judge, how does that public body implement your court order? Otherwise, Madam Speaker, we are creating a difficult situation where you will have an embarrassment, and we don't want to expose our judiciary. They have already been exposed to enough by other arms of government. So we will be the last to be able to expose our judiciary to any lack of obedience to court orders. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, with regard to the preparedness of the Commission to the general election, they are trying their best. We wish them well. Although I know they have also made Kenya elections extremely expensive. And up to now, they have not explained to Kenyans, at least to me satisfactory, why the cost of elections per capita in this country is 10 times, the next expensive system. In other words, our elections are among the most expensive in the world, and no particular reason has been given convincingly. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I request, as a country, we must remove politics from the conduct of elections if we have to sustain our democracy. And therefore, cabinet ministers who are lecturing us, yet they are partisan and they are promoting a particular political candidate, must step down from the multi-agency team, because espousing government policy, which is enshrined in the law for a minister of national government or a minister of a county government, does not include campaigning for a candidate for the next election.
Thank you, Senator. Finally, the chair of the committee, and I give you only 2 minutes to accept the direction. Yeah. Yes, what's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I don't know if you have noticed that one senator, who I will not mention because his constituents are listening, is applauding by clapping the table. This is an august house. Madam Speaker, there's precedence on how we applaud in this house.
Well noted.
By stamping our feet. This is not a market in, let me not mention the county. This is not a bar. Madam Speaker, please, can you reprimand that member and tell them how senators...
Thank you, Senator.
Should I mention the name? No, I'll embarrass him. But kindly, I'm shocked. I am shocked, Madam Speaker. This is the Senate of the Republic of Kenya. In the capital, you stamp your feet on the ground to express that you're congratulating or you're happy with what someone... Affirmation.
Point is taken, and your colleague has been corrected.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, 2 minutes only.
Okay, first of all, commenting on the first statement on IPC, I want to say that IPC should give more time for the registration, and that goes with funding, that they need to source for more funding to ensure this is done, because they need to be well prepared to avoid the scenario that we witnessed in 2007 of conflicts when we had an election that was not well done. On the issue of school unrest, Madam Speaker, I want to say one of my colleagues mentioned the fact that maybe the unrest is a result of CPC, and I want to inform the House that CPC is one of the best curriculum once it has gone through the entire system. And we must look out maybe for other issues that is causing unrest. Madam Speaker, my committee is well seized of this matter, and I'm sure we'll get to the root cause of this. But then I want to say that fires are not new in this country. School fires has been there. We still remember the Bombolulu case, Carl's case of 1998, which ended up ending in a loss of 26 girls. We still also remember the 1999 Kianguli case, where we lost children as well. We also have the Nyeri case of 1999, where we lost 4 privates in the school. And so I think we need to think, otherwise maybe to look at the policy once again, and I'm sure my committee will be able to look at what is happening together with the Ministry of Education and all the stakeholders when the time comes. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senators. The first statement of Senator Wambua on the upcoming elections preparedness by IEBC stands committed to the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, while the second one on the ongoing student unrest in secondary schools stands committed to the Standing Committee on Education. Next order.
Order number 8, the Election Campaign Financing Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 51 of 2021, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Election Campaign Financing Act and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 9, motion rescinding the resolution of the Senate on approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges.
Senator Faria, she was here. Oh, okay. Majority Leader is here.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to
move the motion.
To move the motion that reads rescinding the resolution of the Senate on approval of the senators to serve in the Committee of the Powers and Privileges, that pursuant to Standing Order 58-2, the Senate rescinds its resolution made on Thursday, 16 September 2021, on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. Madam Speaker, I don't want to take a lot of time on this, and this is the decision of the House and also House Business Committee. I therefore move the motion and request Senator Milgo to second.
Madam Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I now propose the motion that pursuant to Standing Order 58-2A, the Senate rescinds its resolution made on Thursday, 16th September 2021 on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. Honorable Senators, I would now like to put the question. I don't see my contribution on that one. That pursuant to Standing Order 58-2A, the Senate rescinds its resolution made on Thursday, 16th September 2021 on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Who less pen, yes, of the contrary say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, approval of senators to serve in standing committees.
Leader of majority.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to move the motion that approves senators to serve in the standing committee, that notwithstanding the resolution of the Senate made on 14th December 2017, 14th February 2018, 21st February 2018, 21st November 2018, 20th March 2019, 19th June 2019, 28th April 2020, and 24th June 2020 on the approval of senators to serve in various standing committees of the Senate, and pursuant to Standing Orders 189 to 18. The second schedule to the standing orders, the Senate approves the following senators nominated nominated by the Senate Business Committee to serve in the standing committee of the Senate as follows. Number 1, Standing Committee on Energy, Senator Haji Abdul Mohamed MP to serve as a member. Number 2, Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Senator Isaac Ngugi Githua MP to serve as a member. Number 3, Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, Senator Gideon Moi, CBS MP to serve as a member. Madam Speaker, this is also to place the senators who have come in new, who have just been sworn in, especially the first 2, and number 3 is also to place Senator Gideon Moi to serve in the Committee of National Security. And this is the matter that has been canvassed both at the Leadership and also House Business Committee. And I request Senator Milgo to second the same also. Thank you.
Senator Milgo.
Madam Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I would now like to propose the motion that notwithstanding the resolutions of the Senate made on the 14th December 2017, 14th February 2018, 21st February 2018, 21st November 2018, 20th March 2019, 19th June 2019, 28th April 2020, and 24th June 2020 on the approval of senators to serve in various standing committees of the Senate and pursuant to the Standing Orders 189, 218, and the second schedule of the Standing Orders, the Senate approves the following senators nominated by the Senate Business Committee to serve in the standing committees of the Senate as follows. 1, Standing Committee on Energy, Senator Haji Abdul Mohamed MP to serve as a member. 2, Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights, Senator Isaac Ngugi Githua MP to serve as a member. 3, Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, Senator Gideon Moi, CBS MP to serve as a member. Senator Githua Ngugi Isaac.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have no problem serving in that committee, but I have had discussions going around about the suitability of some of us to be leaders, even at committee levels. Madam Speaker, I need to stand firm and say that we need to be real, and we came in as replacements. There are people that we replaced, and I think it can only be good if we replace our predecessors in the committees that they were in. Madam Speaker, that issue of saying someone is too young to serve in any committee, it is completely out of order. Madam Speaker, if I were there in 1963, when we were fighting for our independence, probably I would be Minister for Defense, because as you see, how the first cabinet was constituted. It was constituted majorly by the young men of that time. And therefore,
Senator Kajwang has a point of order.
Madam Speaker, Senator Githua is in my committee, and so I didn't want to disrupt his train of thought. But it has been the tradition that when you are the beneficiary of a motion, you do not contribute to it. This motion lists Senator Githua as having been placed in a committee. I just wanted to advise him and also seek your indulgence, Madam Speaker, that unless Senator Githua wants to extricate himself from these committees where he's being proposed, he should then allow other members of the House to be the ones to discuss his suitability to be in that committee. It has been our tradition that if you are the beneficiary, you let other members debate.
Senator Kithua, I hope you are advised. I actually didn't realize that I gave you first. I should have given you last, so that you either accept or not accept, but allow members to discuss that position. Because
Madam Speaker,
there are also very honorable members in the committee you are being sent in, and if you make it look like that committee of Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights is not as comfortable, then you are talking to members of the same committee, one of whom is sitting next to you, a very senior lawyer, my first PhD in law in Moi University. So please allow members, don't persuade them in any direction. Let them discuss this motion on their own.
thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand guided. I was speaking on behalf of the silent majority.
Thank you, Senator Olekina Ledama.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support this motion. I think it's about time that...
Senator Cherargei, I hope you are not talking to yourself.
Madam Speaker, I think we should give him some water. He must be
very
thirsty.
worrying.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support this motion. I believe it's time that we really try to create quorums in some of these committees. You know, the changes which have been proposed by the House Business Committee brought today to replace some of our colleagues who have departed. Sometimes it's quite difficult when you want to be able to raise quorum in any committee, particularly, let's say, on the Committee of Energy, where members are probably spread to other committees, the Committee on Legal Affairs. And this is a very, very interesting time for us when we are debating various legislation proposals, particularly on the Elections Committee. It will be important for the Committee on Legal and Justice Affairs to have full members. So I fully support this, and I hope that we can be able to move forward and actually make all the changes that we need to change, accept that we have a very short time to work for these Kenyans who have given us an opportunity to serve them in this country. Because sometimes, Madam Speaker, this debate on committees, on which member to serve on which committee, really takes a very different and wrong turn. And it's all because of personal interest. So I think let us all agree that the shortest time we have, in the middle of all these recesses that we get, the Committee on Energy, the Committee on Devolution, the Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, the Committee on Labor, all these committees that requires members to be filled in. For those who want to work, Madam Speaker, you can tell, look at the House today. You know, I would not want to quote the standing orders because of the hybrid system, but in ordinary circumstances, we would not even be sitting here because we don't have enough members sitting here. So whenever we get such a motion, I want to persuade my colleagues that we should all support so that we can be able to continue doing our job. Committees in Parliament, we do our job both in plenary and in committees. So, Madam Speaker, I support.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherargei, Samson Kiprotich.
Madam Speaker, I oppose this motion on various reasons. One, You gave us a break like 2-3 weeks ago. We did a Kamkunji. We agreed on draft of reasoning, and the meeting of Kamkunji was chaired by the minority and majority leader. There was supposed to be an overhaul and changes that were done, Madam Speaker, in all committees. But leadership, in its dishonesty, has decided to bring what we call piecemeal changes to fit their own interests, Madam Speaker. I think we need to be honest. Then why did we interrupt the session of the House to make a resolution that would not assist in ensuring efficiency and effectiveness of the House? And I forgive Senator Ledama Olekina, Madam Speaker, because at that time he was not around. But if you check the answer and the one we did on Kamkunji, Madam Speaker, we agreed. And they are even on the issue of National Security Committee. There are some members that were mentioned on issues of Laikipia, that they shouldn't serve in some of those sensitive security committee, Madam Speaker. So I think, to be honest to Kenyans, we cannot put some members who have been mentioned adversely in some of the issues that is happening around the country, Madam Speaker, to be members of those committees. It will mean that the committee itself, Madam Speaker.
There is a point of order from Senator Dulo.
Madam Speaker, Senator Cherargei has really mentioned a member of this House who has been mentioned in a security report, and he has been put in security committee. And I think it is important that he should give evidence, because he is completely out of order, when I know very well there is no report tabled here that has implicated any member of this House. I thank you.
Thank you, Senators. But you know, it is not the Senator to say that somebody is completely out of order. You ask whether somebody is in order, then we can be able to deal. But Senator Cherargei, it is true you have made two statements that I thought were attracting the attention of members. You don't really have to insinuate or say something negative about a member before a proper discussion is done. And by the way, before you forgive Senator Ledama, remember there are members in this House who don't have committees. Remember there are committees in this House that have not had quorum. So those are realities that we must all be aware of, even as we move forward. So can you have your last minute?
Madam Speaker, what I was trying to do is just being honest, because, Madam Speaker, I think the Devolution Committee, Madam Speaker, had been populated properly, and we didn't pass. And
Another
I think Senator
point of order
Kajwang.
from Senator Faria.
Secondly, Madam Speaker.
Another point of order from Senator Faria.
Madam Speaker, he is affirming what he had said. So I think without substantive motion to discuss a member, the way Senator Cherargei is insinuating is not right. And he has done it again after even he talked. You tried to make things better. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Cherargei, the only way you can confirm the truth is with evidence. That is all. That is what's required. And you are a lawyer. So please, let's stick to the debate of whether these members can join these committees or not.
Madam Speaker, I oppose, let me put it across. Somebody has said that some committees are not well populated. I remember there was a motion that was brought, and Senator Kajwang.
There is another point of order from Senator
Devolution Committee. Oh.
Madam Speaker, I think we have made very clear intervention here. Can Senator Cherargei provide evidence or withdraw a statement that he has made on the floor of this House that there is a member who has been implicated in a security of Laikipia?
Senator Cherargei, are you ready to come and substantiate, or you withdraw?
Madam Speaker, there was a member of the Security Committee. It is unanswered, and if you can give me time, I can retrieve.
Not answered is there a report that is implicating?
It was made by a member of the Committee of National Security. It is on record. And
what
it is
was
unanswered.
What was
that
made?
Some of the members of this House, or specifically some of the members of this House, had been mentioned during their
Senator
visit
Cherargei.
to Laikipia.
Senator Cherargei, I hope you are not repeating what that member said if it was just a mention. Because then it means both members are really putting the House in disrepute.
So,
Is there evidence that you have that you can defend your own self?
Madam Speaker, for the interest of the House, I withdraw and reframe it like this.
Thank you very much.
That's-
I think that removes the intervention
Can
from...
I have my last minute?
You said you have withdrawn and...
I want to make the final comment on...
No, you need to apologize because I can see Kajwang is ready. And I can see Senator Lakina is ready.
What is happening, Madam Speaker? I'm not getting why our members ready. Over what?
Yes. Okay, on a point of order, Kachwang.
Madam Speaker, we need to be extremely careful how we prosecute business in this House. Just a week or two back, Senator Cherargei, it was mentioned on the floor of this House that he wasted taxpayers' money by going to the US, to Boeing, to inspect aeroplanes, and then he brings back a report without a recommendation. But because the House did not take a resolution on that matter, we cannot hold it against him. And so, Madam Speaker, it cannot be that if a member said something on the floor of this House, taking advantage of parliamentary privilege, that can be taken as a resolution. And so, Madam Speaker, is Senator Cherargei really in order? As you have already advised him, that he cannot refer to banter in the House, because if we are going to rely on banter, Madam Speaker, we should be asking the ESCC to investigate Senator Cherargei for going to Boeing to inspect aeroplanes.
Senator
Madam
Kachwang,
Speaker.
he has withdrawn. What he has not done, again, according to our standing orders, is to withdraw and apologize. Yeah. He has apologized already. Senator Cherargei, let's not go there.
Madam Speaker, let's not go there. You know, Madam Speaker, it will be unfair for this to go on record. All foreign travels are approved by your office.
Exactly.
Does it mean Senator Kajwang, who just come back from the US using taxpayers' money, and yet he's here to table and report, mean that he's casting aspersion to your office by approving his trip to the US? Why is he bringing political gossip before the House?
Senator Cherargei.
Does he cast aspersions to your office? Because all travels, both local and international, are approved by your office. Does it mean you don't have capacity to approve some of the trips? I think that Senator Kajwang must apologize and withdraw, Madam Speaker.
Order, Senator
He must
Cherargei.
apologize and withdraw.
Order, Senator Cherargei. Don't take us away from the point. You have withdrawn. Yes. Can you apologize so we can move? Because we have only 3 minutes to finish this.
Which part? Madam Speaker, I apologize to leadership. But I want to say I withdraw that part and apologize and say that in conclusion, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, yeah.
That let us avoid dishonesty. I have said we had a Kamkunji here. There were many resolutions that were made. We agreed that members who have specific interests should be prevented or should not be populated in committees that they have been adversely or have adverse conflict of interest, Madam Speaker. And my question is simple. Why is the leadership of this House, anyway, they are always absent, why is it their interests, Madam Speaker?
Senator Cherargei.
Can I finish?
Senator Cherargei,
I had only 30 seconds, Madam Speaker.
No, you had withdrawn, you have apologized. Now you are taking us back because we are saying we are not discussing that unless you are coming with evidence. If the leadership did not receive any evidence, then they don't have any reason why
Madam
they should
Speaker, I thought I was sitting in that Kamkunji. You gave us a break and it can be checked.
Senator Cherargei. Order, Senator Cherargei. The Kamukunji made the decisions they made. If you have any evidence against how the leadership moved forward, you need to bring it here. Because if there is no evidence, then that evidence did not reach the leadership. That's why they made the decisions they did. But what we have insisted is that we must ensure that members are in committees. We cannot block these members from going to committees because of allegations that have no evidence. And we have said, let's protect every member of this House, you included. We don't want anything that has no evidence. I think we are done. Your minute is over. Senator Haji Faria Ali.
Can I conclude? I oppose.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think Senator Cherargei should have been made to withdraw again because he continued in the same line.
But you are also going that direction, and I want to caution you.
Okay.
Yeah, please contribute to the motion.
Okay, Madam Speaker, one of the resolutions of the Kamukunji included CPIC membership. And Madam Speaker, as you're aware, the term of CPIC is ending 2nd of December. And a new committee will be constituted anyway. And if there are any anomalies on that committee, then they can be addressed at that time. And that is why, this was not, there were so many committees that the changes were affecting. And that is why I think the leadership decided that let us not do that major reshuffle. There are committees like the Senator Kajwang's committee that was suffering, that problem was sorted. And now, because there are senators who are without committees and they would like to work and they can't work and they can't wait until the new term of now, in January, for the other committees to be constituted properly, then it was felt that let this committee be, just the gaps to be replaced. And this is a party issue, Madam Speaker. So the resolution of sometimes you can make a resolution, but once you do the analysis, you see something that it's not implementable. And it is not strategic in terms of to make that kind of decision. Since the session is ending, there was no need to do a major, because the list that had contentions had a major shift. This one is just replacing members who have either through death or through death in both cases. So their slots are being replaced with other members. So I think this should not even raise a major issue. There are only 3 members being replaced in 3 committees. Surely that is not too much to ask. And I support, and I wish the other senators support. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Nyamunga Rose.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity just to add 1 or 2 comments on the constitution of the committees. Madam Speaker, I don't think that it is right for us to hold our committees at ransom, that we cannot operate. We are here to serve the interest of Kenyans. I remember that about 2 weeks ago, we could not function in the devolution committee. And not only that, there were several committees that could not function for almost 2-3 months, since Senator Kabaka passed on, and then Senator Prengei. So it is not good for us to all the time.
Senator Cherargei, what is out of order?
Madam Speaker, I rise on point of order on standing order number 35. Standing order number 35, which says a quorum of the Senate or a committee of the all shall be 15 senators. Looking around, Madam Speaker, I can confirm that the House does not have the necessitated number of senators, and I request yourself to guide us so that we don't, Madam Speaker.
We have a good number online, but you are going to only push us to start counting people online and on.
So I request,
yes,
Madam Speaker, that they be counted.
Yes, we shall count members. Those online, please continue to be online.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of interruption. I was saying that the Committee of Devolution could not function for the last 3 months because of the numbers. And we are also approaching a critical time.
Let me respond so that you continue. We have 5 online, and we have 11 here, so we are good. Thank you. Yeah, please allow us.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I'm just concluding the few points that I wanted to make. I think we should be more serious. We are almost coming to the end of this 12th Parliament, and it's unfortunate that so many things are pending. A lot of questions and petitions that we are getting from the public. So I think it is important that we don't drag this House behind. We constitute the committees. Some of them have been constituted already like the Devolution Committee and others. So let's move forward and give, and give Kenyans what they deserve. So I support this. And also I would like to tell a few of our members that wherever you are placed, it doesn't matter. You are competent enough to to serve in any committee. So whatever it is, you just need maybe 1 or 2 sittings for anybody to understand what's going on in the respective committees. So it is unfortunate for anybody to decline some of these placements, but it's important that we accept and move on so that we give a proper service to our people. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support the constitution of the committees. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable senators. May I now propose the question, which is that, that notwithstanding the resolutions of the Senate made on 14th December 2017, 14th February 2018, 21st February 2018, 21st November 2018, 20th March 2019, 19th June 2019, 28th April 2020, and 24th June 2020 on the approval of the senators to serve in various standing committees of the Senate, and pursuant to Standing Orders 189, 2018, and the second schedule of the standing orders, the Senate approves the following senators nominated by the Senate Business Committee to serve in the standing committees of the Senate as follows. 1, Standing Committee on Energy, Senator Haji Abdul Mohammed MP to serve as a member. 2, Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs, and Human Rights, Senator Isaac Ngugi Kithua MP to serve as member. 3, Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations, Senator Gideon Moy, CBS MB, to serve as a member. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, motion, adoption of the report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the status of Kenya's stock of public debt.
Okay, we are resuming debate, and Senator Gerarga, you had 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes, adoption of the report of Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Madam Speaker, I want to support the report by the Committee of Finance and Budget and say that as a country, we must go look into the future of sustainable public debt. I think as a parliament, we had said that we must look at the debt register of this republic, Madam Speaker. We agree that as at the moment, but the information we have is 7.7 trillion public debt. And I want to say, when the time comes from the Ministry of Treasury wanting to raise the public debt ceiling, I did oppose when they raised to 7 trillion. Madam Speaker, if they intend to raise to 12 trillion, Madam Speaker, personally, I will still oppose the raising of a public debt, Madam Speaker, ceiling. Because as a country, we must have a sustainable debt. We have already said the expensive loans that the country has borrowed. The economy is not doing very well, Madam Speaker, especially post-COVID era and during COVID, Madam Speaker. So I want to ask the Committee of Finance and Budget. We have seen their recommendations that they have given in their report, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, and say that we must look at, because having a budget of around 3 trillion, Madam Speaker, yet a half of it can be raised through revenue, Madam Speaker, yet I have almost 3/4 of the national revenue is being paid to expensive loans, Madam Speaker. And you remember even the media had asked the president then to provide evidence that the ownership of Mombasa Port is not with the Chinese as a collateral, Madam Speaker. So I think going into the future, we must agree how many national assets, as I conclude, if the Chinese loans, for example, and other World Bank structural adjustment programs, how many of our national assets, like Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the LAPSET project, the Mombasa Port, how many of those national assets are with our debtors, are with the Chinese loans, are with other loans, World Bank, and other structural adjusted programs, Madam Speaker. Finally, Madam Speaker, the country should not allow itself to use what we had in early 90s through World Bank called structural adjust programs. We have seen now the expensive fuel because of the debts that we have, Madam Speaker, and I note the change in the speakership, my neighbor, Senator Rose Nyamunga. Madam Speaker, I think as a country, we must agree that if we do not agree on the management of the public debt, life will continue being expensive, the poverty levels will go up, and I think, Madam Speaker, we need to borrow from the first world countries, and it is good people like Ladama or Lakina have been in the countries that are first world, and they should be able to assist the government in terms of managing the public debt. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Professor Kindiki Githure.
Honorable Speaker, I almost asked whether it was in order for Senator Cheragai to refer to the Speaker as his neighbor, but since he has finished, I will leave it to lie. Honorable Speaker, the stockpiling of debt is a matter of grave national concern. And at the moment, the total debt in this country remains unclear, and the executive continues to deny that they have mortgaged the country and that the debt is not sustainable. Honorable Speaker, at 70% of GDP, Kenya's debt is not sustainable, and I'll explain why. It is not sustainable because I know in many countries the level of debt is quite high compared to GDP. For example, the United States of America is about 110%. In Singapore, it's about 165%. In Japan, it is 250% of GDP, etc., etc. However, Honorable Speaker, we should not be deluded that this country can sustain the debt levels currently at 70% of GDP. And there are two main reasons for this, Honorable Speaker. The first one is who owns the debt. While the countries I've cited, the debt is owned by locals. Our debt, most of it is owned by foreigners. In terms of foreign nations. And also, while in these countries, most of those debts have concessionary or minimal interest or nominal interest rates, our debts, much of our debt portfolio is not only owned by foreigners, but is at commercial as opposed to concessionary interest rates. So, for example, in Japan, 95% of the debt of that country is owned by Japanese, either Japanese companies or wealthy, high net worth individuals, mainly elderly people who are not in a hurry to keep on investing here and there, and who do not want a risk-averse investment. So they are not going to demand for, they are not going to call the debt anytime soon, because most of that debt is owned by Japanese families in perpetuity. But in this country, on the contrary, most of the debt is owned by foreign nationals and foreign corporations, as I've said, and the interest rates are exorbitant. Honorable Speaker, the second reason why our debt is not sustainable is because of the question, what backs or what collateral is used against the debt in question. In the US, in Japan, Singapore, etc., the debt is almost entirely owned by the equivalent of the central bank. For example, 93% of the Japanese debt is owned by the Bank of Japan. And being as such, it is unlikely that the Bank of Japan can auction the assets of Japan, or the Reserve Bank in America cannot auction the state, because this is the state institution, is the state treasury. And therefore, one of the reasons why that debt in those countries will be sustainable, even if it is very high compared to the GDP, is because it is owned by the national treasury. And because it is owned by the national treasury, it is easy for the national treasury to even write it off by mere paper accounting. That is not the case in our country. Also, the debt in the countries with high levels of debt to GDP ratio is backed by a very strong manufacturing industry. The example I've been given on Japan, for example, suffice that Japan is the biggest creditor on earth. It has assets of over $3 trillion US in form of foreign currency and in form of foreign investments abroad. One may ask, Honorable Speaker, what does this country manufacture and what foreign reserves or foreign investments does this country hold? So it means, therefore, if we default, and we are likely to default, this country will lose the international airport, as it has happened or is almost happening in Zambia. Zambia is about to lose the international airport. It's also, I think the same country is about to lose the utility, the power utility farm, the equivalent of Kenya Power, to Chinese creditors. A country like Sri Lanka is actually almost losing the main seaport in Colombo to Chinese creditors. So, Honorable Speaker, those who continue to delude us that our debt levels are sustainable must be condemned in the highest terms possible. And I want to end my remarks by saying the following statement, that those who are in one way or another responsible for bankrupting Kenya and placing our country into a course of irredeemable debt will pay dearly in life or in death. Honorable Speaker, I support the recommendations of the committee.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Kajwang Moses Otieno, Senator for Homa Bay.
Madam Speaker, I rise to support the report of the Finance Committee on Kenya's public debt stock. Madam Speaker, this House had requested the Committee on Finance to inquire on the status of public stock of debt in Kenya and its implication on Kenya's development agenda. And so what the committee has given us is a risk assessment report that is meant to keep the House at par with information from key stakeholders in relation to sustainability of public financial resources available to finance both national and county governments. And Madam Speaker, I know there are those who might think that the subject of public debt should be a preserve of the National Assembly. But as long as issues of public debt affect the revenue that is shareable between the national and county governments, it becomes the business of Senate, it becomes the interest of all citizens in this republic. The Finance Committee on page 7 of the report has made several recommendations, has made 5 recommendations. But these recommendations are to ask the National Treasury to submit certain pieces of legislation and certain reports to Parliament within 6 months and within 28 days to provide a status report on restructuring of public debt. Madam Speaker, when you look at the mandate that this House gave the Finance Committee and the recommendations that they've made, I think they did a good job, but came up with lazy proposals. The committee had been tasked not just to give deadlines to Treasury. The committee was tasked to inquire on the implication of that on Kenya's development agenda. And Madam Speaker, that was a subject that could produce volumes of books. It was not just a matter of describing the debt ceiling, a matter of describing where we sit today, a matter of describing and transcribing what the